In today's video, we are going to be discussing gain staging and how we can apply it to both our recording and mixing process. So if you're into that, stick around. So what we're going to be doing in this video is, firstly, we're going to be looking at things from an overview standpoint so we can get a better idea of why we are gain staging our vocals to make sure that they sound good, how to get great levels. And then we're going to be taking a look at this project that I have so that we can see how we can actually apply that to our mixing process, our recording process, etc. So if you're into that, stick around. It is your boy Farai. Thank you once again for tuning in. As always, definitely make sure to check out the link to this full preset in the description. If you like the settings, you can have these in a download. If you do not use FL Studio, I do make custom presets for Pro Tools as well as Logic, so check that out in the description. And we're going to be discussing a little bit about mastering. If you're not really into mastering, definitely check out the link to LANDR below. LANDR is a full-fledged automated mastering suite, and if you use my code, you can get a nice discount off your first month, so check that out as well. So let's hop straight into it, man. So firstly, we've got two meters right here. Okay, now these are meters that I'm going to be using to assess mostly this one, the VU meter, but you know, I've got a digital meter. It's exactly the same as what you'd see in your DAW up here as well, the Ozone Insight. And red is just showing us, you know, 0 VU and anything below that, right? But the VU meter is everything when it comes to recording. So if you're recording your own vocals or you're getting ready to mix someone's vocals, you're going to want to have a VU meter up just to assess what is going on. So I'm going to play this track real quick. As I said, this is a track I've done in the past. Sounds really cool. I like it. And we're just going to pay attention to the vocal levels. So pay attention to both of these meters and then we'll talk about it.
I got a bad bitch in my place, she'll grab our
yeah, we blowing and smoking, I'm pouring that drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you, kept the clown. Been at the mall and cuffs on my jello. Gucci on me, as a brand new sweater. She all on me, cause I get away. Never went to college, got money like professors. Real engineer, think I'm Elon Musk. Snakes in the grass, who can I trust? She keep 100, don't switch it up. She throw it back on me, just back it up. Cause I like the way you do it, yeah. I like the way you move, yeah. Shawty so clean like this remix. Oh, that's your girl, I ain't seen. I put a 4 in my lemonade and now I'm leaning. I cannot stop getting all this money, I'm money fiending. All these clones try to steer the wave. It's so easy to see, yeah. Gotta keep it G, gotta keep it 100 degrees.
whole lot of money in the safe, don't worry about us.
Alright, so there you go. Hopefully you get an idea of where our levels are at. Now, if you're paying attention or if you're struggling to see what's going on, we have our vocals really bouncing around -10 at a max peak. What does a max peak mean? At the highest point, right? So this is why it's important to have headroom. We'll talk about that just now. We need headroom so that we can always give space for our EQs, our compressors, all the processing that we're going to do, and then B, in case an artist or you jump in volume a bit much, right? Certain phrases, certain words, certain lines within your song are going to jump out, right? And you want the headroom to not distort, okay? Our goal as recordists, as mixers, to make sure we're not clipping, to make things sound nasty to the point where we can't reverse them, right? So that's why we give a bit of headroom. Now, when we look at the VU meter, you can see things did kind of clip in a way, but you know, they aren't really clipping in a way to where they are hurting our overall level because we're still bouncing around -10. This is why the VU meter is just way better for when you're recording vocals. So for example, I'm recording right now into a Yuri 1176, and I wish you could see, I think I did actually do this as an example, but what you see on the Yuri is exactly the same as what you see on this VU meter. If I go to -5 or -2, I see -2 on the VU meter, right? That's cool. So it's a nice way to reference your input levels, okay? So that's why you want to make sure that when you're recording, you are aiming, if you want solid answers, solid level, you want to make sure that you are dabbling around 0 VU. It's okay if it clips a little bit, right? The VU meter, since VU is not real digital 0, we're not really distorting, okay? But we want to make sure that we're not distorting on the peak meter, okay? As you can see, the max level right there was -7.2, okay? We never distorted at any point in the record, but we made sure that we adjusted our mic preamp up until the point where it sat around 0 VU. Now, what I think a lot of people you know, make the mistake of doing, especially when you're learning about gain staging, is you assume that you have to do everything at once. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, you think, oh my gosh, you know, 0 VU is loud, right? So I need to make sure that I'm recording my vocals at 0 VU or 0 dB, my bad. Don't worry about that, right? This is why I've pulled this up here as well. Okay, this is the level meter on the master track. Now, why am I showing you this? Well, guess what? We're lifting our overall mix by 7 dB. Okay, so we can still get those vocals to 0 dB, but we never recorded them at 0 dB. Can you see how much kind of flexibility we have when we just record our vocals with a little bit of headroom? Okay, we'll discuss sweet spot just now, but I'm just gonna quickly mute the instrumental just so you can see at what level the vocals are hitting at post the final mastering limiter, right?
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you, kept the clown. Been at the mall and caught some yellow.
So as you can see right there, it is now pretty much 7 dB louder, okay? It's sitting around -2 at max, right? And that kind of makes up for the difference with this limiting right here, right? So as you can see, we can later on get our vocals loud. We can do all of our processing to get the levels more consistent, to compress them, etc., etc. But the main goal of when we're recording our vocals is to make sure that we're not clipping and that we are kind of dabbling our vocal around 0 VU. 0 VU is always going to be considered the sweet spot because it is generally the point where you've got a good ratio. Okay, now this is important, a good ratio between your signal to noise ratio. Okay, now what does that mean? Noise in a recording would be anything that you do not want in your final product. Okay, so if you don't want hiss in your recording and you only want vocal, that's what you need to be aiming for. Minimal noise, lots of vocal. Okay, we also want to make sure we're not having too much of the room tone in the recording. If you have too much room tone in your recording, you've probably got your mic preamp cranked a bit too loud. So that's really your game that you're trying to play. It's really trying to balance out that signal to noise ratio, and 0 VU is always going to be a good reference point. If you are boosting your volume or the volume of your mic to around that level, and you're still getting room tone, you're still getting computer noise or microphone hiss, then it is time to further assess the equipment and the environment that you have. But I can tell you for sure, we've had lots of clients that have recorded under 0 VU, above 0 VU, that just made sure that everything was kind of aiming for that range right there, and it works, right? You know what I mean? So it's not really going to be a problem. So there you go. That's pretty much the video that I wanted to show you. I'll play the track once again now that you have the knowledge that you have that I've just given you, right?
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you, kept the clown. Been at the mall and caught some yellow. Gucci on me as a brand new sweater. She all on me cause I get away. Never went to college, got money like professors. Real engineer, think I'm Elon Musk. Snakes in the grass, who can I trust? She keep 100, don't switch it up. She throw it back on me, just back it up. Cause I like the way you do it, yeah. I like the way you move, yeah.
See, right there, nothing crazy going on, right? We're just aiming for that sweet spot, making sure that we are not getting that noise in the recording, making sure that we are not over, leveling our vocal to the point where it's distorting on the way in. Again, we want the ability to be able to manipulate our vocal. If I just turn off the vocal chain, right?
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you.
Right, a little bit of tubbiness in the vocal, but again, EQ is going to deal with that. Compression is going to deal with getting that consistency out of the vocal. We don't want to spend our day trying to remove with isotope distortion from a vocal take, okay? It is not the way that you should be working. You should always be working from point A to point B to point C in a refined manner so that you are getting these great results as you're going along. If you're not able to do that, you'll always find that you're looking back your whole mix, and it's going to really hinder your progress and then hinder the quality of the overall product that you're trying to produce. So hopefully this video made sense. I know it is quite crazy to take in at first, but if you want just the overall summary, make sure that you're not distorting your mic preamp and make sure that you are leveling your vocal to the point where you're getting good vocal sound, no noise. It's as simple as that. You can then deal with everything else later. You want to make sure that you are reducing your bed music. If you have an instrumental like this, as you can see, I reduced it by -9.5. Okay, I then boost the mastering limiter by 7. Right? That makes sense because I've got my vocal that's also going to add on a little bit of volume. I've got all the effects that are going to add on a little bit of volume. So we're not going to boost it by -9.5 exactly. We've got other elements that are adding energy into our master track. But you get the point, right? It's really we're just making sure everything is not distorting as per the process. Lots of science, but again, watch this video back if you need to. This is everything that you need to know. I highly recommend, again, for you to go ahead and watch live sound engineer videos on how they gain stage as well. It's going to give you a lot more insight to how you see things in the physical realm of things. Okay, that was something I talked about in a Zoom session we just did. So if you want to talk to me one-on-one, you've got more questions, check out the link to talk to me on Zoom as well. You can book a session. We'll talk on Google Meet because it's nice and high quality and it is absolutely free. But nonetheless, man, stay well, keep mixing, have a good one, peace out.